This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. See, Bucket writes in. better.
These are our people.
Better quality of rats. WWF, WCW, AEW, or the Atlanta Braves.
JCP.
Oh, not even on there. There you go. Travis Peters writes in, on a recent episode of Dynamite, you got earrings now. Mm-hmm. What's the story behind that? Midlife crisis? Travis, thanks for listening to the show. Mm-hmm. He's had this middle of the mall shit for what, a decade?
Oh, a decade, yeah. Yeah, since I got my ears pierced on my 50th birthday, and then, of course, a number of years later, the Atlanta Braves came calling, and they said, earrings got to go. And now, they're back.
Bobby Salsa writes in, does Tony have any WCW memorabilia that he actually values?
No.
Jimmy writes in, Tony, if you were going to pick your own entrance music, what would it be?
Oh, my God. It would be Roll With It by Stevie Winwood, I think.
InFlames811 writes, what does Tony think of...
Wait, hang on a second. The Collective Soul thing? Right as Rain by Collective Soul? That's another good one.
What the fuck? How did you have a non-communicative conversation with Dave Silver right there, where he merely cupped his hand in the air as if he was tickling his balls, Bruce's balls, like Bruce was here, and you immediately said, oh, Collective Soul.
Okay.
How did that happen?
We just have a thing.
InFlames811 writes, what does Tony think of the new era of the NWA?
I haven't really watched it that much, but I think it's a pretty cool look.
Sweaty Stallion writes in, if ass wasn't meant to be ate, why is it between two buns?
See what we've done.
That's a real question.
I know
Tony.
we brought people like him out into the open.
We've never had a conversation about this that I know of. Okay. Tony, have you eaten a lady's asshole before?
I have not.
You've never put your tongue there?
Nope.
Would you like to today?
Well, is Whitney available?
So hang on. If Whitney was here,
right,
you'd put your tongue up a poop.
No,
sheet.
I would not.
Okay. All right. Why are you weirded out by it?
I'm just. It
ain't gonna get none on you. She'd be clean.
Stop.
Salem Zora writes, do you think WCW should have toured the UK when the NWO was red hot? They only came over once the promotion was on its last legs.
No, I think they came over when the promotion was on its last legs because they saw that as an infusion of money. And yeah, it probably would have worked with the NWO red hot, but that's just not business, I guess.
Relampago Blanco writes in, have you or Tony ever had a cheddar bow?
A cheddar bow?
Yeah, he's talking about Bojangles.
Yes, I've had a cheddar bow.
Scott Norris writes in, if Lois was stranded on a deserted island with enough power on her cell phone and could only make one phone call, assuming she had both numbers, would she call you or Donald Trump?
She'd call Donald Trump.
What would she ask him, do you think?
Could you send a plane to get me?
That's a fair call.
Okay.
Bill Weaver writes in, if Tony Schiavone could sit down and interview any pro wrestler, past or present, who would it be? And what's something you might like to ask him?
Oh, wow.
Give me a real answer and give me a funny answer.
Oh, God. See, you put me on the spot. We don't rehearse these at the beginning.
We're calling it in the ring.
Okay, calling the ring. I would always wanted to talk to Lou Thez to see how, when he first started wrestling, how pro wrestling changed from the time he started wrestling until he wrestled until he was 70, right?
Yeah, he was up there.
Yeah, so I would always want to do that. I would also want to sit down with Ric Flair and ask him if he slathered hummus all over his dick, would Wendy lick it off?
What's wrong with you? The funny question would have been, I want to sit down with David Flair.
Okay.
Now I can just smell his fingers. Rodney Owens wants to know, which did Hogan fear more, his thermos or the Yeti giving it to him in the ass?
Yeah. Well, what do you think? The Yeti giving it to him in the ass. Because if you get pounded enough in the ass, sooner or later it's going to happen.
Chris Oldham wants to know, was Hulk Hogan ever scheduled to be on the Starrcade 83 card to the best of your knowledge?
No. To the best of my knowledge, no, he was not.
Phototog Rob writes in, how hard was it for Tony to not laugh during the 96 uncensored match between the Belfast Bruiser and Lord Steven Regal when Dusty was desperately trying to say gluteus maximus?
It was difficult. It was very difficult to hold back laughter when Dusty was doing his Dusty shit.
Real Jones Saw 2 writes in, the Kevin Nash Macho Man limo septic tank truck. Was that real crap that Nash filled the limo with?
No, of course not. It wasn't.
Oh.
It was chocolate mousse.
Downtown Jack wants to know, has Tony watched the XFL yet?
No, fuck no. I don't want to watch football. It's not September.
Michael Elam writes in, the episode of Nitro where you proclaimed, fans, there is nothing written on these papers in front of us. We have no clue what's going to happen next. Let's go to the ring.
Yep.
Was that not the perfect example of frustration boiling over? Was that a fed line, or were you shooting?
No, I was shooting. Absolutely shooting. And it was frustration, too.
Jim Bob Squarepants writes in, has Tony ever seen Cody Rhodes act on the show Arrow?
I have not. I have not. Who's the guy that plays the Arrow? Stephen Amell. Yeah. He sent me this years ago, this real shitty tweet. So I blocked the fucker with a fucking arrow.
So you decided I'm not watching that stupid show?
No.
What was the tweet? Something about greatest night in the history of our sport?
I don't know what I don't know what it was.
He's probably a fan, and you were just you didn't have an appetite for it back then.
No, he was being smart, being a smart ass.
Ninja Rob wants to know, would Tony ever do a movie cameo, perhaps playing himself in JR's book when it gets made into a movie?
Yeah, if sure, I'd love to.
Hey, would you be interested in being in the Dark Side of the Ring series? Because you could make a cameo.
For what?
Like, when they're doing the cutaways, when they show the shadowy figures of guys working or wrestling or whatever, they could probably cut away and you'd be one of the announcers. I think it'd be kind of cool. You can be on Vice.
Get it for me and I'll give you 10%.
Is that retroactive?
Next question.
Okay.
Ninja
Rob wants to know, what's the longest car trip Tony has made?
Ooh, longest car trip I've made? I think 12 hours between Miami and Atlanta. It's probably more than 12 hours, yeah.
Inside Gaming Online says, can you tell us about Dusty Rhodes and the gorilla that he brought back in a cage back in 85 during a feud with the Koloffs in the old NWA shows? Who played the gorilla and who booked that shit?
Dusty booked that shit, of course, because Dusty was a booker. The gorilla was J.J. Dillon. And, of course, it was meant to be Dick Slater. And then when they had the match, they had Dick Slater come with the gorilla head on, walking to the ring at the Omni. But J.J. played it. And I thought it was a hell of a funny skit.
Josh White.
Then they had his mom come out, remember? For Mother's Day, the gorilla's mom came out with a purse and everything and a bonnet.
Concussed Jones wants to know, is it true that Vince McMahon is really just Butch Reed in disguise?
Could be, because, yes, could be. And if it is, fuck, I shouldn't shit on him as much as I do.
Inhuman Rampager writes in, who is the greatest slap dick in the history of our great sport?
The greatest slap dick in the history of our great sport would be Conrad Thompson.
No, I'm not in the sport.
You think you're not?
Okay. Josh White writes in, who is Tony's Mount Rushmore of heels?
Oh, of heels. Whoa.
Ric Flair.
Of course, Ric Flair.
NWO Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Who else?
Right off the top of my head.
Who got real heat, man?
Who got real heat?
Yeah.
Ole Anderson got real heat.
Okay. He did get stabbed.
He did get stabbed. Yeah. And I'm gonna go with the old NWO thing. I'm gonna go back before kayfabe, right? Or before kayfabe.
Anytime ever.
Right. Yeah. I think the Giant was in that whole thing with Hogan.
Terrible answer. Rodney Owens writes in, is there a woman Tony would give an Alabama hot pocket to?
Yes.
Who's that?
He didn't ask who, but go ahead. Next question.
Okay. Dwayne Pierce writes, tell us about Floyd the Horse.
Floyd the horse?
Floyd the horse.
Okay, that was the horse that Dusty Rhodes got on, or the Midnight
Baby
Rider.
Doll, right?
What?
Is that a different one than the horse with Baby Doll?
I thought Floyd the horse was the horse that Dusty hopped on his Midnight Rider.
Okay.
And had those rubber soles on at the Roanoke Civic Center. And because Dusty's fat ass was on the back of the horse couldn't get up the ramp. I thought that was Floyd the horse.
That's pretty funny. NMA writes that Tony Schiavone's laugh flash in front of his life. Let me start over.
Okay.
Easy for me to say. Did Tony Schiavone's life flash in front of his eyes when Conrad revealed that Buff Bagwell shot his own dad on purpose?
My life? No.
Dylan writes in, can Cassio come back for more episodes? If not, can you guys just sample a Cassio laugh track throughout your episodes occasionally? That dude cracks me up.
Well, we can't sample a laugh track, but he is always welcome to come. But we have always found out, I mean, I don't know why he doesn't come back on our show, with the exception of maybe he's just one lazy motherfucker.
Probably that.
Okay.
Philip Snowden writes, does Tony have any notable memories of overseas tours, specifically in Asia with Jim Ross?
In Asia with Jim Ross, a lot of us went out to eat at Korean barbecue. And I'd never gone to a real Korean barbecue before, and that's where you cook the food on the hibachi. And then, of course, we went to a Roppongi after a show, and I think I've told this story before, where they poured all this different liquor in the stainless steel, looked like an ice bucket. And they sang this song, and everybody passed around this shit, and you had to drink out of it. And the ice bucket was ice cold, and it was the worst tasting shit. I mean, people probably spit down in there. I don't know. And it passed around, and I got so fucking drunk that I ended up at a Korean bar, and with JR and Jim Hurd, and I had to go to the bathroom, and everybody at the Korean bar had this Korean girl that followed them around that would pour your liquor, or if you wanted something to eat, would get the food for you. And I went to take a piss, and she was following me in the bathroom. And I said, stop. I put my hand up. I don't want you to follow me in the bathroom. I mean, maybe she was going to zip down my zipper and, hold it for me while I was taking a piss. And I don't know. So I kept drinking, okay? And the next thing I know, I'm like passed out, and I'm in a cab with Jim Hurd, and now all of a sudden I'm like so drunk that next thing I remember, I'm in my hotel. And that's all I remember about that trip.
Seth Hicks writes in, would you like to see War Games or a similar style match in AEW?
Well, I think eventually, but I think we're kind of war gamed out.
Seth Hicks writes in, would Hulk Hogan have been successful in JCP had Vince and the WWF not existed?
No, of course. Yes, he could have been, but listen, JCP wouldn't have done justice to Hulk Hogan like Vince did.
Jonathan Harrell writes in, what are Tony's thoughts on the all-you-can-eat Shoney's breakfast buffet?
I'm for it.
Michael Guest writes in, what is your opinion of the Houston Astros cheating scandal?
I think it's overblown. I think it was bad. I think with technology now that cheating should be really monitored. I've heard people say stealing signs in baseball have been done forever and ever. It has, but now with technology, it needs to be curbed. But do I think they should lose their world championship? Absolutely fucking not.
Dwight writes in, have you ever received a rim job?
No.
I got one, and we'll talk about it a lot next week. Dylan Jacobs writes in, what are your thoughts on Rise of the Skywalker?
Loved it. Absolutely. A lot of people shit on it, but I fucking loved it. Didn't you, Dave? It was a good fucking movie.
What Dave thinks.
Okay, no.
Mike Neal writes in, how does Tony feel about Mountain Dew Zero?
I haven't tried it yet. I'm really partial now to Mellow Yellow Zero.
Well, that's going to bring this week's episode to an end. We appreciate you guys tuning in for hashtag Ask Tony Anything. Next week, we got something special for you. We're going to be bringing you a more recent show. How about from 2017?
Woo!
That's right. It's Fastlane 2017. I think it's a pretty decent show. It's a bad rap. On March 11th, it's all about Living Dangerously 2000. On March 18th, Uncensored 2000. On March 25th, WrestleMania 14. On April 1st, it's WrestleMania 6. On April 8th, it's 4/8/89 World Championship Wrestling. On the 15th, Spring Stampede 2000. On the 22nd, April 22nd, 93, Saturday night. And then on April 29th, Backlash 06. You won't believe what happens on that show. I'll tell you next week. But Tony, when I look at my clock right now, I realize it's about that time.
And in the tag team main event this week, it's Dave Silva and Clint from Hershey with a bag of Chick-fil-A against Conrad Thompson in his SUV. Who's going to win this? I know. And we're desperately out of time. We'll see you next week on What Happened When. We're on Westwood 1. Oh, there goes those rims. There goes the rims. We're out of time. We'll see you next week on What Happened When. We're on Westwood 1, and on Mondays we're on
Patron, you rat soup eating motherfucker. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.